Finally on again. Welcome to the Natural Health Live. We're on Wednesday, 30th of November, and I've just had a lovely dinner with my father, 95 years of age, Ian Little, love to my dad, and at my old schoolmate's restaurant out at Riva. So hi to Drew Balmain. My name's Graham Little, near Peter Pope, for those that are not aware, www.fightpharmacorruption. And we've had a big day fighting corruption again, another big day. It don't seem to get any easier. And we've got a special feature tonight, the I Put a Spell on You feature for Dr. Michael Gannon, President of the AMA, who's very vocal about natural therapies, aren't you, Michael? So putting my skeptics training cap on, which thank you to Chris Guest, President, and Dr. Ken Harvey for the free 8-hour training session last Friday before I was black banned on the weekend for the rest of the convention. Thank you very much for that skeptical training. So without any further ado, let's get into segment number one, and I'll give you a bit of a preview that we might actually end up having an interesting little app for you to look at, which will have each of these segments on it as a separate channel. So I'm working on that in the behind the scenes. So let's go to the late breaking news. This has been heavily focused on in recent social media, rarely in the mainstream press. And this is Minister Hennessy mouthing off again about how safe and effective vaccines are, to the point that she answers to the question, can vaccines overwhelm a child's immune system? And the answer is no. A child's immune system could manage 100,000 vaccines at once. That's what I was wanting to check. The reference on the Better Health channel, if you go to the minister's website, go and have a look at the Better Health channel and look for this particular comment, because tonight you will not be able to find it. I'm reliably told that she's now pulled this statement because of the focus you out there have brought to bear on challenging this potential lie. Why is she taken off her website tonight? This is partly why I was evicted from Melbourne University, because the reference I wanted to look at is very hard to see. I don't think you'll be able to see it. Maybe. Not quite. I'll read it out. It's Vaccines Textbook, 6th edition. Vaccines 6th edition. Plotkin, Plotkin, Orenstein, Orenstein, and Offit, Dr. Profit. Offit, OFFIT, pages 147 to 1471. That's what I wanted to look at, the pages at Melbourne Uni Library, and order the textbooks. Got about a 4-week delivery. But I was evicted from Melbourne University on Sunday afternoon talking about high-level Cochrane evidence. And 2 days later, or 3 days later, here's Minister Hennessy pulling that comment from the public. So if you're prepared, Minister Hennessy, to pull this comment off your website about the proven safe and effectiveness of putting 50 litres of vaccine into a 12-kilogram 2-month baby and it won't affect their immune system, have you been telling any white lies anywhere else, Minister Hennessy? And we're still waiting on the Show Us Your Tweets saga, where you stole out of Facebook groups, secret Facebook groups of mothers, stole their private discussions crying out for help. You stole them, you cooperated with Reasonable Hank. I say you conspired and were guilty of corruption, and that's why I reported you to the Corruptions Commission. And you conspired with the Melbourne Herald Sun, who did a video and disseminated all day, inside out, every media publication. So you've backed down once that you don't support this 100,000 vaccine statement. Do you want to back down and say you lied about the Show Us Your Tweets saga, which you still haven't shown us the tweets? Neither has the Herald Sun, and neither has any media in Australia retracted any of their stories on the Show Us Your Tweets saga. So please, out there, let's stay calm, let's stay controlled, let's stay focused, let's not do anything silly, okay? We are focused on the high-level science, Cochrane evidence. We are focused on the high-level act of parliament in the USA. We don't need to do anything silly. We just need to continually highlight to your network, your friend, your partner, your children, your father, your mother, your social media networks. We just need to reverse the mantra that's been, for some reason, adopted in Australia, that all vaccines are safe and effective. We all know in the social media networks that are not anti-vaxxers. We all know that they're not anti-vax. Some of them the best vaccinating mothers in existence, you know, including the president of the AVN, Tasha David, who vaccinated 6 mothers. So don't ever call Tasha an anti-vaxxer. She vaccinated 6 children, Minister Hennessy. And when are you going to have a chat to Tasha and show Tasha some respect? When are you going to do that, Minister Hennessy? It's about time you did show some respect. So that's the rant and rave. Please take this up. Ask all your politician friends. Walk into electoral offices. Why was this statement up on the website, and why has it been removed from the Health Department's Better Health Channel website? And be very civil about it. Write letters. Talk to people. Go into electoral offices. You're quite entitled. They're very nice people who work in electoral offices. They do it all the time. Be civil. Be informed. Be reasonable. But show your faces. You've got to come out now. Okay? You've got to be past the point of no return, but you've got to focus on respecting that other people can have an alternative point of view, okay? So I respect that Minister Hennessy got an alternative point of view. I don't agree with her, and I don't say she has the peak level evidence, and I'll be continually focused on Minister Hennessy until she respects our views and she has a proper debate. Until that point in time, I'm not deflecting my energy much further than Minister Hennessy, but we will have the next spell I'm putting on Dr. Gannon coming very soon. The Vax movie, let me just talk about this. This is so exciting. How many sleeps have we got, guys? Wednesday nights. I got tonight, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Probably come Sunday now. I've got meetings with mothers in Sunshine Coast on Monday, next Monday, and then the Vax movie is going to be shown, Logan, I believe, in Brisbane on the Tuesday night. So I'll be back in Brisbane Tuesday night. I'll be up for 10 days. There's a screening on the 16th of December. I'll be up at that one in the Northern Rivers. I'm not sure whether that's been announced where it's going to be, but I'm sure we'll find out. And then I'll be available for 10 days. I want to talk to as many mothers that are ready to go past the point of no return and go public, or past the point of no return and document your adverse events. And these include suspicions you have of any single side effect that could be linked back to either vaccination or any of the pharmaceutical drugs your children have been given through childhood or adulthood. The TGA, our Therapeutic Goods Administration, wants your community support to be confident of the long-term safety effects of these pharmaceutical products. It's a simple form. I'll have an app for you next week, hopefully. If not, I'll have hard copies, or we can do it on the internet live for you. And then you have a community duty. The Therapeutic Goods Administrator wants you mothers to come out and tell them what are the problems you're experiencing, even if you are suspicious. This is not something you need to go to the doctor with. The government wants you to advise them. It's on the TGA website. I'll make it as simple as possible. Okay, let's just switch the play to the post I put up probably, I think it was back in June. I've just posted on my Facebook page. I originally did it on LinkedIn, so I've put it up now. It's the putting a spell on Dr. Michael Gannon. It's in relation to the Oshin case, the brain cancer 6-year-old who was given a family court order by the Chief Judge of the West Australian Supreme Court, and I feel that he has been misled, okay? I don't have an issue with the Chief Judge at the moment because he was misled by the government, the health ministers, the doctors in Perth about the state of medical evidence. But I think the worst person that misled the family court that ordered chemotherapy for this young boy, Oshin. I've met Oshin and his mother, Angela. Hi, Angela, in Perth. The fact that the Cochrane gold standard evidence was quite specific, and I've got it in the post. Read the post. You don't need to hear it from me again. that that there was no better than placebo impact of giving chemo for this brain cancer condition. Now, I'm going to show you part 7 of the post. There's a lot of paragraphs in the post I put up, but let's just go to paragraph 7 and I'll show. Okay, this is on my website as well, by the way, www.fightpharmacorruption.com. I've got a lot of archive posts there. I've got a lot of material you can have a look at. www.fightpharma, spelled P-H-A-R, there we go, fightpharmacorruption.com. So if you go down after this Facebook Live and have a look at the whole post, why did the AMA condone this legal action, which I say is medical kidnapping, but ignore the gold standard Cochrane evidence? Why? National Chairman of the AMA Ethics Committee, Michael Gannon, told 720 ABC Perth it was an extremely rare case. See the link at the AMA Ethics Committee supporting the treatment on the 8th of April 2016. At that point, Michael Gannon was the AMA Ethics Committee. Guess what happened on the 29th of May, which would be 51 days later? Ethics Committee head was appointed the president of the AMA. So I'm putting a spell on you, Dr. Michael Gannon, because you said this: the doctor's responsibility is always to do the best for a patient. And when it comes to the care of a child, they need to consider the rights of the parent or the guardian, he said. Really? Dr. Gannon said it was standard practice for complex cases to be discussed by a multidisciplinary team, including a surgeon, oncologist, and others. I have no doubt that a case like this would have been discussed extensively by the doctor in charge before they took the difficult, and I think the very brave step of involving the courts. Very difficult to try and make the case to a parent or guardian that you think you know better than their wishes for their own child. And then he said, Dr. Gannon said it was a vexed and difficult ethical issue. The burden of proof is very high. Oh, really, Dr. Gannon? This is not something the doctors do commonly. Really, Dr. Gannon? It's not something that they would want to do, he said. The case of the medical evidence would have to be extremely strong. Ethics Committee later appointed as the president. Extremely strong, Dr. Gannon, before a judge would even dream of going against the wishes of a parent or a guardian. Really, Dr. Gannon? Low battery here. I said it's a scary thought that none of these pillars of the mainstream medical community could reference the gold standard independent evidence supplied by Cochrane reviewers, preferring biased medical evidence, no doubt discarded by Cochrane when completing its systematic review. I'll switch back. I'll give you a call tomorrow, Angela. Okay. What we're planning to do is to make the mainstream medical community accountable to the Cochrane standard of evidence, because that is what they are doing to all natural therapists. And I highlighted this last night, right? The same Friends of Science in Medicine, with most of the players that are involved in the AMA, have put a submission to close down the practice of Chinese medicine. The main practice I've had for 25 years, acupuncture. Mind-boggling. They're not prepared on strong evidence to tell the judge in the family court about the Cochrane standard of evidence, but again, this is the latest Friends of Science you can get on their website, Friends of Science in Medicine. That's their website address. Ask them what's their view of the Cochrane for the post I've told you about with Dr. Gannon. Is there any place for acupuncture in the 21st century medical practice? They're seeking a ban, and they rely on page 8. You can get this on their website. It's the latest quarterly newsletter. They say here, here we go. Over the past 10 to 15 years, the Cochrane collaboration has addressed the efficacy of acupuncture for many of these indications. When clinical trials have been performed properly, lack or insufficient evidence of effectiveness for acupuncture was demonstrated in most cases. The following is a list, not exhaustive, and they go through 7 different Cochrane studies, and then they bag the RMIT big time, all you people out at RMIT. So I say you're cherry picking yet again the AMA, supported by the Friends of Science in Medicine, supported by the Skeptics, supported by Minister Hennessy, supported by Reasonable Hank, supported by all our health ministers, state and federal, supported by the entire political fabric. And we know that you have said that 17 natural therapies don't have clinical efficacy, and yet you're happy for everybody to just give chemo, a poison, when the Cochrane said that there was no difference. Let me just show that graph. One of the posts that you can read, paragraph 1 of the Cochrane study in relation to the Oshin brain cancer case I was talking about, what the Cochrane review concluded about the scientific evidence. The Cochrane Collaboration Review of Chemotherapy Treatment for Brain Cancer, known as, I'll probably spell this, probably pronounce this incorrectly, Medulloblastoma, found at Chemotherapy for Children. So I've got the link there if you want to look at the whole thing. Concluded, the meta-analysis showed no significant difference between treatment including and treatment not including chemotherapy. No significant difference. I mean, cherry pickers. We know about the spider web at the CDC, guys. I've got that somewhere. Might look at the spider web tomorrow night. Someone remind me tomorrow to do the spider web at the CDC. I've got my spider web t-shirt on. This is what we're fighting, guys. They've got spiders everywhere. How come the chemotherapy Cochrane review said no significant difference? And then I read out to you before, the man I'm putting a spell on, and I'm not just going to put a spell on, I'm going to be putting a complaint, Ken Harvey has shown me how to do it, to the AHPRA, Australian Health Regulation Practitioner Agency, as soon as I can. Fairly busy at the moment, but we'll find some time, and put him to the test, the man I'm talking about, because as we know, the burden of proof is very high. This is not something doctors commonly, it's not something they would want to do. Anybody get this message out there? It's outrageous. Okay, let's finish off with the mantra, the new mantra that's always been the mantra, except our governments never want to say it. Our governments are saying all vaccines are safe and effective, and you can even have 100,000 of them up until tonight where they've changed their mind. Let's just flip back, because I am a health politics advocate lawyer, admitted to practice in the Supreme Court of Victoria in 1978 and now. Here's the Supreme Court of the United States. This is the case, Brewster Witch et al. V. Wyeth. This is the case. There's the thing, argued October 12th. That's the act that they recognised, the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act of 1986. I'll say it every night if I have to. Created a no-fault compensation program, Minister Hennessy, to stabilise a vaccine market adversely affected by an increase in vaccine-related tort litigation, and to facilitate compensation to claimants not stealing their website secrets and plastering them over media, Minister Hennessy, and talking to your mates at the Corruption Commission to get you off the hook when I put you into the Complaints Commission. And what that was said in the case, the Act is all about, most importantly, the Act in the USA for 30 years eliminates manufacturer liability for a vaccine's unavoidable adverse side effects, Minister Hennessy. Why? Because flip to page 2 of the opinion of the court, page 2, flip to the punchline, the destabilisation in 1986 of the DTP, does that help if I do that? Vaccine market, causing 2 of the 3 domestic manufacturers to withdraw, and the remaining manufacturer, Liddell Laboratories, now Wyeth, estimated its potential tort liability exceeded its annual sales by a factor of 200. Let me read that again. This is unbelievable. The last manufacturer said they estimated in 1985 they were going to be sued in the US courts for negligence, that's the tort of negligence or product liability. It would have exceeded its sales by a factor of 200. And we're being told these vaccines are safe and effective. That would have meant the whole vaccine industry would have totally disappeared. They wouldn't have had one, but for this act. I find that extraordinary. And that's why I'd love someone to come and support Tanya Hammond to come to the first launch. Let me talk to you. And someone post up my GoFundMe. Any money that I get GoFundMe from now through to Monday will be put to the airfares for Tanya Hammond to come to the premiere of Vaxxed in Logan in Brisbane, all the way from Kalgoorlie. It might cost up to $1,000, around that amount. Read that link. Could someone put up the link to that Supreme Court case? If you know it, I've put it up several times. Tanya's husband was paralysed, died 4 times and resuscitated, has now got the ability to walk, but got a lot of permanent disability still. It's a horror movie what he's been through for 4 years because of adult, back then, effectively coercive vaccination of the DTP vaccine. Adult. That's what we're fighting, adult mandatory vaccination for all of us. I want Tanya Hammond to be there. Ben can't come, he suffers in the heat a lot now, it's getting hot over there. I want Tanya to be there. So if you could put some money in the Fight Pharma, what's it, GoFundMe, / Fight Pharma, PHARMA, corrupt, you're going to go to the GoFundMe. I'll put the next lot of money to Tanya's airfare because we need to highlight this DTP vaccine particularly. They're giving it to the pregnant women as well. This is outrageous, in my opinion, based on the unavoidable side effects haven't been tested even on pregnant women. So please help Tanya to come over. I've been there to Kalgoorlie. I've spent 2 nights. There's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes with that matter. I'm aware of it. I'm privy to that I can't tell you about. Clarifying the final point, and I'll shut up and let my dad go to bed. He doesn't want me to show his face. I'd love to interview my dad live now, but anyway. Do you want to come on, Dad, or not? Quickly? No, he doesn't. Done a great job raising me. I've been a bit of a handful, particularly lately. But anyway, I'll come good in the end. Yeah, there was some misunderstanding last night. When I last night, if you actually saw what I said, I said, if you want to sit next to me, put some money, I think it was about $89, at the premiere and $144 at the second one when I bought 11 tickets. I was never going to get the money. I was going to go the GoFundMe, which funds all expenses. I mean, I'm probably minus $5,000 in expenses since I started in June, let alone actually getting any income. But any of you that felt I got some feedback that people were concerned I was charging for selling tickets, my apologies, another misunderstanding. That was what that money was to be put for. So I'm hoping to be surrounded by mothers at any screening of Vax. So if anyone else want to put Vax movies on, I'm coming. Get me on a plane. I'll be there. Love to talk to the mothers. Love to help them put up the adverse events. Love to hear their stories. Love to do a Facebook Live with the brave. Love to do private ones that you keep, and then when you're ready to come out past the point of no return, we can put them up. It's all your call. You decide when you're ready. There's great reasons why you might not be ready, but we've weakened Minister Hennessy. We've weakened her, and we keep focused on Minister Hennessy. Someone gave me a whistleblower from Perth. Thank you very much today. I said, we won't go to the Minister for Purchase yet. Let's keep on Minister Hennessy. And don't forget, Minister Lay did pull the Risperdal drug that was given to my mother with a 10-week behind-scenes campaign by one person only. No one from social media. She pulled the drug in 2 days and banned it for the condition my mother had. So that was just me. Imagine what me plus you plus you plus you. So we haven't forgotten about you, Minister Lay. We've just got to sort Victoria out first because we've got a Health Complaints Act coming. And she backed down and got this off her website. So we had a lot of fun on that. Signing off. Any questions? What have we got here? Adam, look what one jab did to Ben Hammond, a young man. Actually, was in the mines. Actually, could someone also put up, that'd be great. I did a great Facebook Live with Ben. That'd be great to put that link up, actually, Adam, if you can find it. Put that Facebook Live I did at the open cut. It's unbelievable how big that open cut is. And Ben used to work there and a lot of other mines, and he loved to work, Ben. He is an incredibly understated man. I'd love to have Ben there. I was going to have Ben at the Summit Against Corruption. I didn't want to tell anyone, but he was coming. You know, he wants to tell his story. But Tanya's been telling it. She's been copping flack. I love you, Sarah. Thank you very much. Bloody frozen again. Oh, well. Look, Facebook, I'm still live, so at least they're looking after me a bit. Let's leave it there. I think I'm tired. My dad's tired. You're tired. Signing off, Graham Little, Knee, Peter Pope, www.fightpharmacorruption.com. Tomorrow's another day, and we've got 2 screenings of Vax coming up. And who will we have a crack at tomorrow? If I get my act together, I've had 3 lots of hyperbaric this last week. That's how I keep going. I might have a crack tomorrow night. Any suggestions? I think I might have a look at the hyperbaric case for you. I've been doing a lot of homework on how to present why they totally ignored in that case all the Cochrane evidence. That's probably a good follow-on from tonight. So they totally ignored all the Cochrane evidence to nuke a brain cancer 6-year-old against the naturopathic mother's wishes. Sure, there wasn't any prejudice because Ange was a naturopath. So tomorrow night we'll see why they deregistered a chiropractor, and I say ignored all the Cochrane evidence. Why do I say that? I did all the investigation of the prime APRA witness, Professor Michael Bennett, who gave evidence under oath, didn't know anything about the Friends of Science in Medicine, wasn't a member. Funny about that, the president, John Dwyer, the Friends of Science in Medicine, he's recruited just about every other person you can possibly imagine. Shh. Is that the Prince of Wales? Oh well, maybe Associate Professor Michael Bennett had never heard of the Friends of Science in Medicine when he was the prime witness in the prime test case that went 66 days. You can read the judgment ahead of time. If you want to get ahead of time for tomorrow night, here's the homework. Someone put up the homework, right? Homework for tomorrow. Read the case a little bit. Just read the first couple of bits. In fact, I'll put up that as well tomorrow. Chiropractic Board of Australia v. Dr. Malcolm Hooper, now Mr. Hooper. I'll put up what Senior Member Robert Davis said about my submissions missing the point. And we'll see what evidence Cochrane expert Associate Professor Michael Bennett gave and what happened to that. Interesting. That's tomorrow night. And I'll have a good rant and rave. Someone will give me something to excite myself to get through the torture of fighting pharmaceutical corruption. But it's going to be a huge week next week with the Vax movie. Congratulations to the AVN for bringing it out, all the team there. There's a little bit of tension flying everywhere around the place, and because we're all nervous. I mean, everyone's doing the best they can. I've got some pretty forceful views, and so have a lot of other people. We'll all pull together next week. Don't worry about anybody watching this. It'll be a big team effort, and we'll focus on the AMA president and every other Friends of Science and Medicine we can get our hands on. So in a very fair way, very balanced, very focused, using Cochrane standard evidence. Good night from me. Signing off. May natural therapies be preserved. That's not a bad one. What would Eric Pearce used to say? My dad will remember. Can you remember what Eric Pearce used to say in the news, Dad? Can you remember what Eric Pearce on Channel 9, when he finished the news segment, can you remember, he had a signature when he signed off on the news, Eric Pearce. Can you remember the final? Dad's got a great memory at 95, by the way. Doesn't need any Risperdal, that's for sure. He can't remember. Put him on the spot. Well, he'll remember, or someone can put up what Eric Pearce. I might close every Natural Health Live by saying, may natural therapies be preserved. Because I started with the giant cock-up. They want to get rid of Chinese acupuncture. What a giant cock-up for the Friends of Science in Medicine. I say, may Chinese medicine be preserved. And I've booked my appointment again for Chinese acupuncture at 12 o'clock on Friday. So I'm not going to mention that person's name, but he's an absolute gun. Love you all.